Greetings, dear ones. Welcome to the Healing Call of Cancer. I'm Sue Paulson, your magnificence mentor. Today's topic is called You Are Not Your Cancer. So I want to start with a premise. The premise is that you are not your cancer any more than you are your body. So what do I mean by that? Well, I've come to understand, believe, and know that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience here on planet Earth. And as spiritual beings, we are eternal. We can never die. We are part of God. We are part of Source. We are part of the universe. We are a part of all that is. So the essence of us, that whether you want to call it spirit, whether you want to call it soul, higher soul, whatever label you choose, that's us. We are eternal beings. So if cancer comes calling, if cancer is invading the body that you inhabit, it's there. It will not kill the essence of you. Oh, your body may succumb and be overwhelmed by this onslaught of rogue, nasty cells that we term cancer, and the body will expire, but you won't. I found that a very comforting idea. And let me tell you, I didn't always believe that. I had a sense that maybe that was the way it was. And I hope that that's the way it was for many, many years. But I can't say that I actually had proof until I had a near-death experience in 2007. That was 4 years before I got the cancer diagnosis. And there I was, bathed in Source, and this knowing washed over me of how magnificent we are as spirit and how we're limitless, that the possibilities are absolutely endless. We choose to come to planet Earth to experience life in the physical form, to experience the contrast from what we deem to be absolutely wonderful to absolutely terrible, and everything in between. It's part of the growth cycle that the universe has, because the universe never shrinks, it always expands. Well, we're part of that expansion. And when we come to planet Earth, we contribute in a particularly unique way, because it's tough to be in a physical body when we come from limitless spirit, and all of a sudden we're bound by gravity, we're bound by the limitations of what the physical body can do, and then we have these experiences that result from that. So it's interesting to me that as part of the human condition, as part of being human and testing everything out and playing out our whatever we're here to do this time round on planet Earth, then it's interesting to me how we assign certain meanings and certain emotions to what we experience. And we get whatever we get that comes out of that. So, for example, if we were to look at everything from a neutral standpoint, so you've probably heard ad nauseam the phrase, well, it is what it is. And it it can be an annoying phrase, because I find for me that after a while I'm going, yeah, I know it is what it is. it's meant to be an acceptance that what is going on is what is going on, whether we like it or not. And so to accept that and then learn to deal with that is really what that sentence is all about. Well, it is what it is. Well, if we take that a little bit further and look at it from a neutral standpoint and say, well, it is what it is means that there's nothing more to it other than just this situation exists. We decide whether we're going to assign any meaning to that or not. We decide if we're going to fill it with a certain kind of emotion or not, or if we're going to change our mind from one moment to the next. First, I thought this way, and now I think this way. That's up to us. That's part of our right and our responsibility in human form, is to decide, well, what does that mean to me and how does that impact me? And when I make those decisions, well, then what am I going to do about it? So let's face it, when we get a cancer diagnosis, well, cancer is what it is. And from a scientific standpoint, it's a collection of cells that have clustered and are identifiable as what they call cancer, and they have a particular makeup and so on. And if you want to read up about the makeup of a cancer cell, it's kind of fascinating in kind of a bizarre way of how it actually comes to be and how it grows and so on. But that aside, cancer is a collection of cells. Why then are we so afraid of it? What is it about the terror that seeds into us? Well, because we start taking it personally and saying, well, that cancer is in me and it's growing and it could kill me. Well, it could kill the body that you inhabit. That's possible. But you're not going to die. Okay, you will go on. I find it vastly comforting that all my loved ones who have transitioned from life on planet Earth back into the realm of source, that they're there and they're there cheering us on and supporting us and saying, you can do this, you can do this. And we get these little whispers sometimes of their support and their love for us and their total acceptance of wherever we are and whatever we're doing, that to them from the spirit realm, it's all good. It's all wonderful. Whatever we decide is perfectly fine to them. And I'm guessing that they have senses and feelings about what they see us going through as humans, because they were here too, and they experienced what life on planet Earth was all about and how hard it is and so on. Last week when I talked about supporters, well, we don't want to forget that we have this vast array of souls who are right near us. I mean, the veil is very thin. Excuse me. And if we open up to that sensation and we ask for a sign, it's interesting how often something will appear and we'll go, oh, that's interesting. And so, and I felt very comforted once I knew that I had that support. Now, when I was going through cancer, I didn't have that sense and belief as strong, but it was growing. And so it enabled me. Did I know if my body was going to live through the cancer experience? No, I did not know. There was so much that I did not know. I did not know what I did not know. And there were things that I couldn't even find out, because I could read all the books and do all the research and look at the statistics and measure the odds and all that kind of thing and listen to what the doctors had to tell me. But in the end, they didn't know any more than I did whether my body would survive the cancer or not. They didn't know whether my body would survive the treatments or not. And there were a couple times there where it was touch and go, and my body had to fight every bit as much to recover from the treatments that I went through as it did to move through the cancer. So it wasn't possible to know that. So I relied mightily on the hope that all would be well. So, and isn't it interesting, because when we change our perspective slightly and we say, well, I am not this cancer. This cancer is in this body, but it's not me. I am more powerful than that cancer because I come from Source, and Source is limitless. Source is powerful. So when we take that focus, even if we're not sure if we believe that idea or not, the fact that we're willing to entertain that notion, like, what if I'm more powerful than this cancer? What if I'm meant for bigger things than what are in front of me right now? What if? Well, that seeds a whole different field of possibilities for each of us if we say, what if? And that idea, that when I think of it from the medical profession standpoint, I mean, the medical profession is very afraid of, quotes, death. And their training, to a large extent, involves doing absolutely everything they possibly can to prevent someone from dying. And as a result, there's a desire, I don't know if I would call it a willingness necessary, but a desire to do everything in their power to thwart death. And if that means using an arsenal of toxic chemicals and burning radiation and drastic surgery and so on to thwart death, then they feel compelled to go that route. And the trouble with that is, that I see anyway, is at what cost? Like, what is the cost to the individual that's experiencing all of that onslaught of horrific side effects from treatments or the ravages that happen to the physical body? Maybe the cost is too high. Maybe there's a better way. What if we trusted the body to know how, with some help, to heal? So that's a whole different conversation, but it relates to this conversation from the respect that it's what you choose to deal with what's in front of you that's going to make the difference in your experience of it. And that applies to any adversity. Let's face it. If you believe that is the most horrible thing that could ever happen to you and nothing good will ever come of it, well, then you may get exactly that experience. Or if you say, well, I don't know if cancer is, quotes, the enemy. I don't know if I'll survive, my body will survive this journey. And I don't know if there will be something good come out of it at the end. And  'maybe I'll change my perspective about this cancer adventure. I don't know that. But what if this is here to teach me something. What if I can grow through this experience to be way better than I ever was before, or to have a far more magnificent life than I ever had before? That's what happened for me. I had this hope that in working through it, I would end up with gifts. I would end up better on the other side once I got through. I also knew there was a possibility that cancer would take my body out, and that I would, quotes, die and go back to the spirit realm. Well, I've been there. It's pretty cool. It's pretty wonderful. And I thought, well, quotes, death is not the worst thing that could happen to me. In fact, take me home. Well, of course, I'm still here because apparently my mission on earth is not yet done. So here I am. And now on the other side of cancer, I see that it was the most powerful experience of my life to date, that it set me up for being able to open to my life in an entirely different way, and one that was filled with and is filled with more joy than I knew existed. One that was very distanced from the suffering that I had experienced for a lot of my life. So, yeah, so if we can distinguish between what this cancer really is and recognize or realize or somehow begin to believe that I am not this cancer, I am more powerful than any adversity that comes my way. And in the grand and glorious scheme of things, I'm eternal. The essence of me will never die. So what am I going to do with that information? Well, one of the things I've decided to do with that information is, regardless of how much time I have left in this physical form on planet Earth, I plan to just wring every bit of joy and zest for life that I possibly can. I don't want to miss out on any opportunity to grab hold and say, oh, look at this. How about that? And move beyond the fear that cancer brought to me and triggered in me. I mean, the fear was deep seated, and I didn't know how scared I could be until I got the cancer diagnosis, except I already knew that in spirit form, there is no fear. Fear is an illusion, that old false evidence appearing real. So there was nothing to fear except maybe the fear itself. And it scared me how scared I was. That may be the same for you. But in our calmer moments, and we can reach for the sustenance that we need to sustain us, the peace that can come when we say, there's more to me than that. And how do I access it? How do I bring it in? How do I access that? And of course, it's just, there was an old ad one time that says, it's just a phone call away. Well, okay, God, source, spirit, help me out here. I'm struggling. Help me to feel differently, to see with different eyes, to understand with a different way of being. And I think that could help. I know that a lot of my lived experience tells me that, because I went through it the opposite. I struggled, except that I wanted to go through the cancer experience with dignity and grace. I think for the most part, I achieved that. Did I go through it in an easier way that I wanted to? No. No, I didn't. No, it was messy. It was raw. I felt so vulnerable. And then in reflection, in retrospect, I saw where I was so resistant, where I did not see it as neutral. I was so busy battling the idea of cancer, and I was so resistant to having cancer that I couldn't actually deal with the whole event in what I now consider to be a better way. But you know, we go through it the way we go through it. And now I've accepted that, well, that was my experience, and it played out the way, I can only believe that it played out the way it was meant to play out. And in reaching out, I began to see, well, other people don't have to go through what I went through, because you can go to school on what I went through. And this is why I'm doing this Healing Call of Cancer series, is to shine a light on the pieces that were so dark for me throughout a lot of that time, that I'm thinking they don't need to be so bleak for you. And I guess my vision for all of us souls here having a human experience is one day we will get to the point where we recognize our piece of divinity, the piece of divinity that we are, so strongly that cancer will no longer need to come calling, because we can learn the lessons differently, easier, in a fuller sense of growth and who we are, that the suffering is not necessary. For now, we are where we are, and we have the power to change it, the power to change our minds, the power to reach out and access the more that we are. It's there for us. And there are amazing people on planet Earth, I call them Earth angels, who can support us in that, who can help us in that. Where are they? So go looking, go searching for those people that can offer the pieces of the puzzle that you might be struggling with. Like, who are they? And then, of course, through meditation, through quiet moments, through contemplation, through books. Books were a huge source of help for me. Spiritual books were a huge source of help for me in coming to a deeper understanding of what this was all about. And it helped me open up to the guidance that I could get from Source. So, wow, it's a big deal what you're going through. And so I don't want you to take the experience lightly, but I do want you to adopt a lighthearted approach to it and say, wow, yep, this is happening to my body. And maybe I'm feeling a great deal of fear at this moment in time, but this too will pass. I need to allow it to just be there and say, okay, it won't kill the soul that is me. So how am I going to deal with it? Step by step, bit by bit. And you can do this. You are magnificent in the way you were created. The proverbial chip off the old block, so to speak. Well, you know, a large diamond can be turned into to smaller diamonds that have many, many bright and shining facets. That's you. You are this diamond, and your potential is limitless. The possibilities are limitless. So my friends, that's what I wanted to chat about today. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if these videos are helpful for you. This is number 6 in the series, and I will continue on week by week. I think if you subscribe, you get weekly alerts that there's another video has been posted on my YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel is called Healing Call of Cancer. I have also downloaded all of these videos onto my app, which might be an easier access. The app is called The Magnificence Mentor. It's a free download from either Google Play or Apple Store. And all of the videos are there, plus my videos. I do a Friday tea with Sue that I have my signature teacup here. So there's more content there to support you in your journey, to inspire you to be all that you actually are. And I invite you to do that. Take good care. We'll see you next week.